Hello, thanks for joining us on National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, government has concluded salary negotiations with the DAT and the Police Welfare Association. Prime Minister Skerrit wants more youth to take advantage of educational opportunities, and young women from Silverlake community graduate with cosmetology skills. Stay with us for details of these and other stories when National Focus returns.
You're watching GIS.
Welcome back. The Dental Health Services Department is embarking on a project to review its dental procedures manual 21 years after it was first introduced. Chief Dental Officer Dr. Idelin John says the goal of the review is to promote the use of the revised operating procedures for dental professionals on the island.
The review and updating of the Standard Operating Procedures Manual will promote the delivery and quality of clinical and preventive services in a cordial and efficient manner to those eligible for care at all of the Ministry of Health dental clinics. This manual will act as a guide of procedures to follow policies set by the Ministry of Health and the dental health services. The expected outcomes of these revised documents are: 1. An updated and more user-friendly standard procedures manual, increased collaboration between primary healthcare and dental health services, 3. Oral healthcare and other healthcare providers trained in the proper use of the manual, 4. A more informed health team on matters pertaining to oral health, and 5. Effective use of the updated manual by oral healthcare providers.
A review workshop was held with dental professionals last Thursday to examine the manual.
The objectives of the workshop are to review the existing dental services procedures manual to adhere to current standards as recommended by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, and WHO, World Health Organization, to establish linkages between oral health services and primary health care at a national level, to establish linkages between Oral Health Services Department and the Ministry of Education.
The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is providing the financial resources to ensure the success of this program. PAHO's local representative, Shirley Augustine, endorsed the review of the manual, saying that it is in keeping with internationally acceptable oral health standards.
The mission of PAHO's oral health program is to strengthen oral health services through communication and collaboration among member countries to provide the information and resources necessary to provide equal and quality oral health care for all people in the Americas, especially for the most vulnerable populations. I applaud the efforts of the dental unit, and I sincerely hope that the revised manual will not sit on a shelf among other books, but that it will be a tool that will be utilized on a day-to-day basis as we all endeavor to bring quality health care to the Dominican population.
The existing dental procedures manual was developed in the early 1990s, titled Dental Health Services Manual. It was developed and formed part of the staff support component of the primary dental care program at the time. In other news, young women from Silverlake community are now better prepared to create employment and generate income for themselves and their families. Following a 6-week cosmetology training program, these young women have been given new skills and competencies which will assist them in embarking on their own small businesses. The training exercise was organized by the National Development Foundation of Dominica, the NDFD, in collaboration with the Basic Needs Trust Fund, the BNTF. A graduation ceremony was held last Friday to recognize the accomplishments of the trainees. Desiree Grell had the task of training the young women.
It was a wonderful experience getting to know you lovely young ladies better, and for opening up your hearts and minds to receive first-hand knowledge in manicure and pedicure. Now that you have been richly endowed with a fresh start and a brand new way of life, make the best use of it. It is my greatest wish that you will adapt to these worthwhile changes and skills that you have learned, and that you will put them into immediate practice. Go out there, start in your own neighborhood, and be kind, considerate, and compassionate, for that's how you build a clientele. And in so doing, I guarantee you that you will succeed.
Shema Mills, a participant of the cosmetology course, remarked that although the experience was a challenging one, it was time well spent.
It gives me a great joy to stand here to experience my appreciation to all who played their parts in this course. It was indeed a challenge. These 6 weeks seemed so long, but was too short. We learned so much in so little time. All through our times, we wanted to give up, but you all kept motivating us. Thank you for your patience and everything which made this a success.
A number of awards were presented to participants of the training course during the graduation ceremony. Shema Mills received the Most Outstanding Participant Award. Minister for Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, Honorable Gloria Shillingford, is encouraged by the interest shown by the young ladies to empower themselves.
This indicates a willingness on your part to avail yourselves of opportunities for personal development. I trust that you will also participate in other programs under this pilot program, and that you will encourage other persons from your community to do likewise. It is government's wish that your community, and indeed all communities around Dominica, are empowered for growth and development. I must congratulate all of you participants who have followed the program through its completion. I commend you for your positive spirit and ambition, and urge you to always embrace opportunities for personal development which are made accessible to you.
Executive Director of the NDFD, Ronald Knight, and Project Manager of the BNTF, Matthew Carrett, encouraged the young women to use their newly acquired skills wisely.
A lot has been invested in you, and you now have a responsibility to go out and put what you have learned over the last few weeks to use.
You have this opportunity which other persons do not have. So, so really appeal to you to make full use of what you have received. We ask you to be professional and to use that as a stepping stone, to better yourselves and your loved ones.
The graduation ceremony took place at the NDFD's conference room. And government has provided funding for the lighting of the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit presented a check of $179,000 toward the project during a ceremony on the grounds of the park last week.
This Benjamin's Park is a very significant part of Portsmouth, and the lighting of the park really changes the landscape of Portsmouth today, both in terms of socially and economically.
Parliamentary representative for the Portsmouth constituency, Honorable Ian Douglas, in his address at last Thursday's ceremony, said he was looking forward to the completion of the project, bearing in mind the impact of Benjamin's Park on the lives of many in the north.
Benjamin's Park produced our first Olympian, who was Jerome Romain, and a number of sporting personalities throughout Dominica really used this ground in their sporting formation.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit made a special appeal to residents of the north to claim ownership of the maintenance of the park.
When the government puts in this investment, we have to take care of it. We have to make proper use of it and proper use of the facilities.
Funding for the project was sourced from the Dominica National Petroleum Company Limited. The Dominica leader also made presentations to councils in La Plaine, Petite Savanne and Grand Fort for sporting facilities in their communities. Details of these presentations in Wednesday's newscast. And the government of Dominica has successfully concluded wage and salary negotiations with the Dominica Association of Teachers and the Police Welfare Association for the 2009-2012 triennium. Negotiations commenced in December 2009 with the 3 public sector representative bodies, including the Public Service Union. The benefits which will form the collective bargaining agreement for the triennium include wage and salary increases of 3% for 2009-2010, 1% for 2010-2011, and 1.5% for 2011-2012. There will also be an increase in allowances and the introduction of new ones. The granting of duty-free concessions on purchase of vehicles to traveling officers, and the allocation of housing lots for police officers. It was also agreed that free medical attention would be provided for teachers injured on the job at government institutions locally and at private institutions locally and overseas, and both teachers and police officers will have access to low-interest mortgage loans. During the 2006-2009 triennium, government approved an increase of 6%. The increase for the 2009-2012 triennium is 5.5%, notwithstanding the declining fiscal and economic conditions which have affected both developed and developing countries worldwide. The job evaluation review exercise, which commenced in February 2012, has concluded, and government is awaiting the final report of the consultants of the Caribbean Center for Administration Development, or CARICAD. In more news, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit is concerned that not enough people are taking advantage of the educational opportunities being provided by government. The country's leader made reference to this when he addressed a recent town hall meeting in Penville. The Prime Minister said Dominicans, including secondary school students, are taking those self-development options for granted, and he appealed for a change in this mindset.
We have come to a point here in Dominica and Penville where not only a few of us have access to secondary school and college, but I get the impression that because we have greater access to education, more people are not treating it in the manner in which they should be treating it. We have too many people who are slackers in terms of their studies. Boys and girls who are at school, you have no other thing to do but to study and to do well. Because no longer the issue is I have to come home late because I have no transportation. You have a reliable bus service, and you have books, you have teachers when you go to PSS, so there's no reason why you should not study. And I'm therefore urging the parents, all of us, the community, to be more vigilant in respect to our children's education. Because education is important.
The Prime Minister also called on parents to get more involved and to pay closer attention to their children's education. Honorable Skerrit wants young people to make use of those opportunities now while the prospects are readily available. He recounted his own experiences when education was less accessible.
Yes, there are many more opportunities, but we should not look for any second chance. We must take advantage of the first chance that we have. Because there are many people who never made it to secondary school, not because they were not bright, but because the system was not accepting students at the time. So now that we have it, we have to take advantage of it. And I keep telling people about the challenges. I walked for many times from PSS. And that's one of the reasons why I had to be transferred to grammar school, because we had to walk sometimes from PSS to Blenheim, to Dodan, to Bourne, because there was no transportation. And I would get home at 6 o'clock at night, after 5. And these days, these children, they don't have a rabbit, they don't have a goat, they don't have a little garden, nothing at all. I had over 40 goats when I at PSS. I used to plant my ginger to sell. I used to have rabbits. The kids don't wash dishes, they don't pick up the leaves. Before we go to school at PSS, we had to wake up early morning to sweep the roads and sweep the yard with all the leaves. And when they get up from school, they have to sweep in the afternoon again. But kids, they eat, where they eat, that's where they leave the plate and so on.
The Prime Minister urged young people, based on his experiences, to make education their main focus. On the subject of government's commitment to educating the nation's youth, Minister Reginald Austri recounted his own experiences with school transportation. He described government school transport program as a means of making Dominicans more independently minded.
I remember in our days, Penville children didn't used to get back to Penville until 5, 6 o'clock in the night. Because they had to go by Benjamin's Park and wait for a transport, and sometimes they used to have to walk. And you were never certain where your child was, what time your child coming home. And you know what amount of money you had to give them to buy recess. So our children used to be hungry on the side of the road, bombing transport, people cutting style on them. You remember those days? That is a thing of the past now. You can put the food on fire and know your child will be home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because the boss will put them down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and they can take out the pot on the fire. And that is what representation, that is what Roosevelt's Skerrit has done for the people of Penville, to make you independent minded.
And finally, this news time, a recipe book featuring 53 recipes of the diamondback squid has made it in the top 5 in an international competition. The recipe book, which was submitted by the Fisheries Division, was among thousands of recipe books submitted to the competition from over 170 countries worldwide. GIS News met with contributing chef Norman Norris, who explained that the division embarked on a program to explore and promote the diamondback squid as part of encouraging more fish consumption. He explained how the book came to be in the top 5.
We looked at the squid, and what we did was that we created a recipe book from all the research and development that we had done and preparing various meals with that. And we did 53 recipes in our lab at the Fisheries Division and published that in a book. We submitted this book to Gourmand International in Paris, France in 2011-12, because the book was produced in 2011. And interestingly, surprisingly enough, they sent an email to us that we were in the top 5. We were the finalists. We were the finalists of the best fish and seafood cookbook in the world.
The recipe book, Norris says, is all local. It was published by Paramount Printers, tested by Dominicans, and features local ingredients in the creation of locally caught diamondback squid dishes. 3 chefs compiled the recipes, Mitsuhiro Ishida and Takahiro Sender of the Japan International Cooperation Agency, as well as Fisheries Officer Norman Norris. He listed a few recipes included in the book.
DBS, we call it for short, eh? It's not what you think. It's diamondback squid, so we say DBS for short. So we have DBS burger, we have DBS on fries, we have DBS akra, we have diamondback squid in, we have bread. We have DBS diet bread made with the ink of the squid. So all parts of the squid is edible. The mantle, the fins, and also the ink. We also made DBS liver, you know, in sauce. DBS water. There are so many things that you just add water to and add spices and so on and make good products. We also have a drink called DBS Stamina Squid Punch.
Norris says the honor of placing in the top 5 reflects very well on Dominica's Fisheries Division, which has a very impressive track record of achievements.
The Fisheries Division has been getting many, over the last 4 years, we've been getting very high success rate with our work program at the domestic, regional, and international level. And for example, in 2010, we received the highest award from the Caribbean Food and Nutrition Institute for our Eat Fish Day program. This has really gone global also, run by Fisheries Officer Sebastian. Also in 2010, Mr. Derek Theophil won Public Officer of the Year, Public Service Officer of the Year. He also went to Tanzania to receive an award from Public Service International in the category of Advancing Knowledge Management in Government. So the division has been getting some accolades at local, regional, and international level.
Norris also revealed that currently research on the diamondback squid, which can be found along the entire West Coast, continues on the eastern side of the country. The findings are expected to be presented at a regional conference later this year. Norris made special note of the persons contributing to the success of the recipe book, expressing his thanks.
We have used the services of many local fishers. We are also very grateful to them because they were involved in the research and development, going out 4 o'clock every morning, every Thursday to catch this fish and process it at the fisheries complex downstairs. So they have been involved in that. The staff of the Fisheries Division also contributed significantly because they were the ones that we were using as persons to taste the recipes and see how good it is, what quality it is, and if it's something that is edible. So they participated in that. And Japan International Cooperation Agency, through their local office and through the regional expert, Mr. Mitsuhiro Ishida, he is actually a chef also. And he was involved in producing this book, and also another volunteer, Japanese volunteer who worked at adult education called Takahiro Senda. He went back last year. He was also involved in that, and I am also one of the chefs on this book. So it was really a labor of love, a number of persons involved in doing this, and it really would not have been possible without the support of all of those persons and our Fisheries Division staff.
GIS News is pleased to announce that we will be bringing you Journey to the Throne, featuring this year's Carnival Queen contestants right here tonight from 9 p.m. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moins c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, négligeons l'école Trafalgar qui a tapé service soulagement au cafétéria qui a bâti bayo. Japan fait donation $36,000 qui a allé bâti facilité cela. Ambassadeur Japan, His Excellency Yoshimasa Tezuka, ensemble et puis maîtresse l'école là, Doreen Watt, signé agreement la semaine passée. Membre Parlement, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre, ensemble et puis ministre de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean, en parmi d'autres officiers, attendez cérémonie là qui prend place en l'école Trafalgar semaine passée.
Nous faisons un petit agreement et puis le gouvernement de Japan, là, il y a $36,000, $36,247 pour nous faire une cuisine pour toutes ces affaires à l'école Kaiche. Avec ça, nous fait aujourd'hui, nous, le gouvernement du Japon, nous avons un petit problème à Kaiche. Pas un gros problème, mais c'est un problème là. Là, c'est les enfants viennent à l'école, manger à fouette, pas assez, ils ont courir avec eux pour descendre d'Ocha, Fokane, tout am Rose Valley, Kaiche, c'est qualité parce que là, ils passent à taper on manger qui bien, qui bien chaud, pas chaud pour chaud, mais on manger qui chaud. Avec on te parler puis en petit pas te parler puis moi pour nous parler comment nous sans manger faire une petite cuisine à Kaiche. Avec Jordia, mon bien content parce que nous avons une cuisine actuellement, nous avons fait une petite cuisine, monsieur Ken Daniel qui a commencé à développer une cuisine ça, contract là Saint Jordia avec tout le monde qui a ça sur un contrat. Avec ça nous avons fait cuisine ça pour nous commencer à bouillir tout manger pour Zafana. Jordia moi parler qui qualité manger nous avons tout. Nous avons parlé comme si nous parler à manière pour faire mon savent Zafa maman, papa, pour cette c'est mon qui a teacher school ça fait où ça manière nous am travail là c'est un bail qui bien santé healthy comme si nous les faire manger pour toutes ces enfants qui bien santé qui bien healthy nous pour en tweet ça nous produit à Dominic ça nous produit à Kaiche à Trafalgar et ben ça nous produit à Shefford Trafalgar Fonkani. Avec ces manger ça nous parler quoi c'est quoi ça c'est légumes nous parler quoi dachine figue banane nous parler quoi poisson nous parler quoi viande on bail qui bien balance.
En autre nouvelle, travail qu'a progrès à Simène Chimé Rosalie pour Gonfond. En délégation ministre Public Works en premier ministère Honorable Ribbon Blackmore, ingénieur Erickson Lewis et puis membre parlement Honorable Ivor Stevenson visité le projet la semaine passée.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons fait pourquoi ça qui prend place. Nous avons plus de jeunes monde qui travaillent, 40 jeunes monde qui travaillent chez là. Ça c'est monde qui a fond. So nous avons fait un projet où là il fini. J'ai encore faut aller conduire voiture vers marché, aller en chemin qui plus bon. So nous avons bâti ça qui surface là avec reinforced concrete. Aussi nous avons mettre bon drain avec concrete. Nous avons mettre bon culvert puis sans place qui a un pile la pluie. So nous ne pouvons faire certain nous bâtir un chemin qui est bien fond pour mon grand fond. So nous avons dépensé un peu l'argent là Aussi, plus bonnet, il y en a l'année passée, nous avons dépensé plus l'argent en Rosalie, 40 ans en grand fond. Nous avons fait escape place là, nous avons dépensé un peu l'argent. Ça nous a fait après ça, c'est la deuxième phase là, en travail là, on a nous mettre concret à chimie, mettre un bon drain. Aussi, quand on a une voiture pour aller au grand fond, il y a un pont qui est là. Nous avons aussi ranger pour ça, à ce projet ça. Ce sont des choses qui sont bien importantes pour nous en Dominique.
Travail qui prend place bien formidable à Simon Sochime Baye en Good Hope. Membre Parlement Honorable Johnson Drago visité le projet là semaine passée.
Chime Good Hope pour casser pour Petit Soufouya, c'est Chime qui était bien dommagé entre désastre. Et bien nous avons fait ça nous paye pour manger Chime à Bayo à une manière qui est diwe. Tout là qui ni pas de fallement qui prend place, nous avons tiré, ça fait colasse et nous avons mis en concrete. Mais quand on a ça en Baye, son place qui était toujours petit. So ça nous a fait à présent nous a ouvert. Nous prenons 8 pieds à bac là et puis nous à présent qu'a fait Chime à même. Là nous a fait une bonne fondation Chime at least 5 pieds 5 inches concrete. Et ça nous a fait là à présent. Il n'y a plus que 10 nombres qui travaillent les projets ça qu'on a ouais. Nous avons une grosse machine là et puis nous a
et puis finalement, l'association Monde des Habilités Dominica a bien supporté l'action gouvernement Dominique pour ratification travail et puis mouvement Monde et puis des habilités en Dominique. Parole cela sorti au président de l'association là, M. Alexander Saint-Luce.
Eh bien, c'est un longtemps avant moi-même de venir dans l'association. Je suis gourmand pour ça. Et 3 années après, un gouvernement décidé pour ratifier la convention là. Ça c'est une bonne nouvelle pour nous. Nous avons tant de nouvelles là. Nous tenions gros boire, nous manger, nous étions tellement excités que le gouvernement signé la convention ça. Ça a nous pouvoir pour faire ça nous pour faire pour implémenter toute loi qui dit et puis dit te voulait faire pour longtemps.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, c'est Luce. Au revoir.
Thanks, McPherson. Having trouble eating healthy? Learn how moderation can help in our upcoming tip of the day. For some people, attempts to abruptly or totally remove unhealthy items or desserts can lead to overeating. Instead, start by allowing 1 treat each day in moderation. Limit portions to only a few bites, waiting a few minutes between each bite to savor and appreciate the food. This may help reduce the urge to finish the entire item while still satisfying a sweet or salty craving. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube page. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.